Let's start. Two things. When we have doubt, we need more faith. That comes by seeking the Lord. The other thing is, a lot of people will say, and I'm not saying this is wrong, but just hear me out, will say like, stand on the promise. And then it comes to like this, again, really like kind of brash, like blind faith. Like, this is what I heard God say. Nobody can tell me nothing. I don't want to hear anything until it comes to pass. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to believe it. And I get that, but that can go to a funky heart space. You know, we don't ever want to become hard-hearted. There's just something about that mindset it is based in fear. And it's weird because you wouldn't think it is, because it's very like, I'm going to believe in the promise because that's what I heard. But it's like, if you really believe it, you'll be willing. It's almost like saying, I'm just going to sit right here until the promise comes to me. And there's idleness that follows that. There's a vain waiting. If we are just open with the Lord, I think we should be in this space. I've been here before. I think a lot of people have been here before. Is this God's promise for me? Just be open before the Lord. Like, Lord, I'm doubting, and I don't know if that's Satan. I don't know if it's because it's not really for me. Like, I don't really know what to do here, Lord, but I'm going to trust you through this. I know you won't ever leave me hanging. And I'm just going to keep seeking you. I'm just going to stay in your word. I'm going to be in prayer for your will, Lord, because at this moment, because of this doubt, Lord, I need faith to replace this doubt, Lord. Like, I'm not going to pray into this promise if I'm having doubt. I'm going to pray for your will, Lord. You know, we can never really go wrong with praying for God's will over our lives. And that's not always what we've desired, but it's always what he wants for us. And I think there's fear there that if we don't pray into, there's a lot of lingo now that like a lot of people are using. That's not necessarily in the Bible. And I'm not saying it's wrong at all. I'm just saying I like a surefire bet. And you can never go wrong with praying into God's will for you, because if that is for you, it's going to come to pass. Like, you don't have to, God knows he's not going to say, oh, well, you didn't pray specifically for that thing, so it's not coming. He's not playing games with you. So if you're having some doubt, of course, we always refer to Eve, right? And if Eve readily listened to the doubt. Are you sure God said that? And then immediately she started feeding into the doubt by looking at the tree that God told her not to touch. Immediately, when she could have dropped to her knees and just been like, I don't really know, Lord. I need you right now. I need you right now. I don't know why I'm getting so emotional. I need you right now, Lord. Like, I don't really know what to do. I hear this other voice, Lord. Help me. And he would have come and he would have attended to her. This isn't going to be long. I just wanted to share this because, these promises from God and the promises that we see in the word, they are so precious. They're so important. But yes, I've spoken a lot on this channel because I've seen the great idolatry of this. And for some, these are things that, God didn't promise us. I mean, people, talk a lot about these promises, but you gotta understand, like, some of these great promises, like we're talking people compared to the promise of, that God gave Mary, like that, he's our Messiah. Like, God isn't giving us Messiah, a promise God gave Abraham. It's the father of many nations. God, you're not the father of many nations. So I'm not saying promises don't exist. I'm just saying that we need to humble ourselves before the Lord. And whatever it is that he has for us, it is good and it will come to pass in your seeking of the Lord. I don't think that we should make these things so great that they become the whole walk, because we didn't get saved. We're not saved people to get the promises. The people in the Bible, all of them, whoever got a promise, followed the Lord without knowing that they had these promises, surprise, you're going to have Messiah. Like David knew he was going to be king one day, but even so, you'll never see David every day like, come on, God, I don't want to be a shepherd anymore. I'm a king. To the contrary, so I think when we're having doubt about a promise, immediately get into prayer. Doubt is always an attack. We've been talking about this lately. Doubt is always an attack on your faith. So immediately get into prayer, and don't forsake the promise. You don't have to, but you also don't have to blindly go into, oh, this is what he said. You know what I mean? You just need to pray for God's will over your life. And you will find evidences sometimes in the physical as you're nearing the promise. There's physical evidences. This is really coming to pass. This is what he wants for me. You know, for relationships, especially, you know, it's not good to be so in another world, because there should be evidences of a relationship. You should know the person, you know what I mean? Or, you know, you should have a friendship with the person, you should have some sort of rapport with the person. You know, you don't want it to turn into like, I know that celebrity is my person, you know, because God said so. And it's like, we just want to be wise here. Like, I'm not making fun. It's just, it's heartbreaking to put your hope in something that doesn't come to pass. So be wise here. Look for evidences. And if not in the physical, then evidences in the peace, in the rest, in the knowing. I know this is what God said. And again, it's not that brash. I'm standing on this. I know that's what he said. Nobody's going to tell me no. Because it's, you know, when God gives you a promise and it's truly from him, like nobody can touch that or take that. So when you feel like you got to guard dog it, something's not necessarily right there. There's a lack of peace and a lack of rest there, which could indicate a lot of things, either your lack of faith or your lack of trust. You know, either way, that promise needs to, just like a baby, you know, needs a womb. You know, that promise needs what am I hearing? Like, hold on. Couldn't quite tell like what word, but like a safe space to grow. You know, like if you have a little seedling and it's just like bitter snow, you know, it's going to be hard for that seedling to grow, and things grow in faith. So when you're wrestling with doubt, number one, Satan is not going to tempt you, and Satan is the one that tempts us with doubt. He's not going to tempt you to doubt what God hasn't said. So take heart there. And if you're just like, okay, well, I'm pretty sure, I'm like 85, 95% sure he said that, bring it right before the Lord and let him know, Lord, I'm wrestling here. Like, I want to pray into your will. I want what you want for me. I always pray like, Lord, the only desires I want in my heart are like your desires for me. Like, I don't want to want what you don't want for me. You know, and he'll really work with you. He really does. Like, cause you're willing, you want his will, and you're showing him that you want his will. So just pray into that. God, I want your will for my life. This is what I believe you said to me, Lord. And I'm going to just set it right here at your feet. I'm going to keep seeking you. I'm going to just keep loving you. You keep loving me. We're going to meet, you know, every day, all day. I'm yours. You're mine. And little by little, as you rest there, you're in his will. He's good. Like, he's good. Don't let the enemy make you think that it's some sort of keep away hiding game. No way. At the appointed time, all things come to pass and not before. And if you think you heard God say something, and like Sis said, praise the Lord for sound mind. It aligns with the scriptures. It's not, we do everything, you know, sometimes we're waiting. I'm waiting to hear what God said. I brought it to God. I'm waiting to hear what he said. Well, what did he already say? You can't negate what he's already said. So run everything by the scriptures, and then you take it to prayer. And in that waiting time, with your mouth, God, I only want your will for me. I'm praying into your will. And I'll just in closing, you know, when I started to pray like that, like, Lord, this is what I want. But honestly, and it would be stuff like I really want it. But I'd be like, honestly, Lord, I only want your will. And I'd feel a little cut in my heart for real, because I would have that knowing, like, this might not come to pass what you want, but what do you want more, your will or God's will? And I have learned the hard way what happens when God's not will, you know, when my will comes to pass in my life, you know what I mean? It's never good. So that's why I talk about witchcraft. Like, be careful what you wish for. Don't wish, and don't blindly put faith into something, you know, but if you really believe it's from God, then you should be willing to give it back to him. Abraham, you know, you can trust him. Pray into God's will. Ask for what you need. When you have doubt, you need faith. Pray for faith and trust him. He's not playing games with you. You rest in him. Everything's going to be okay.